I don't know about you, but I feel like Ice Spice has had one of the longest, quote unquote, whether you believe it or not, career decline. She's been a flop for some time now, but is still here. It's like being a flop has become her career gimmick, and that's what's keeping her relevant. The rapper has essentially mastered the stages/process of evaporation, which in this case is being irrelevant, but to her benefit, and it's kind of impressive. Let me explain. She was first ice, solid, then she melted, then she evaporated, but she's still here now in gas form, which is also ironic considering her poop and fart lyrics. So in this video, let's talk about the one, the only, Ice Spice. How she was at one point one of the most promising princesses of rap to now being quote unquote irrelevant, while at the same time conjuring an impressive resume, despite all the odds stacked up against her in this interesting time of music/entertainment. I am Don, your pop culture boy. I have survived Hurricane Melissa, and now I'm back to fuck shit up like it's nobody's business.
That's catastrophic.
Now, I've talked about Ice Spice so many times, and I've had varying opinions on this channel. I wouldn't blame you if at this point it's hard to say if I'm a huge fan or a massive hater. But to be clear, I am an Ice Spice fan. I'm not like a massive fan, but a fan nonetheless. You know, I'm not a regular grandpa. I'm a cool grandpa. I got that from Mean Girls for those who don't know. But yeah, I've talked about Ice Spice so many times on this channel to the point where I've sworn I've, wouldn't make any more videos about her. But like Doja Cat, I want to go back to what I know. And I've become an Ice Spice connoisseur, which kind of make me like an ice maker. Yeah. Boy, just a quick history lesson on Ice. She kind of started out as a silly meme during her Munch era in the fall of 2022, sporting her red curls while also grabbing her boobs and shaking that ass, which she still does to this day. Like, that was her claim to fame, and most didn't see her going beyond that. But in the midst of her infancy, things took a dramatic turn. Ice Spice started becoming a main player in female rap, which is crazy to say considering all that had transpired. But let's not get ahead of the story. As I said, over time, Ice Spice started to become the it girl, going viral for her fashion, collecting awards, collecting multiple hits like they were Infinity Stones, also collaborating with a whole bunch of artists such as Nicki Minaj, Pink Pantheress, Taylor Swift, and even Drake gave her a cosign. Bodies! Throughout 2023, after releasing her debut EP, Like, Homegirl had the industry eating out of the palm of her ass. I mean her hands. Or her ass, I don't know. However, at the start of 2024, like the current economy, Ice Spice's career took a nosedive simply because the hits stopped hitting. They no longer sounded like the broad appealing catchy earworms that got her famous. In my opinion, her songs started sounding like an actual emerging SoundCloud artist, less broad appealing tracks. When we look at her career, it feels like she skipped or took shortcuts while on her journey to success, i.e. skipping the struggle period. Not that she hasn't struggled at all, but that's what it looks like. So she skipped the struggle period, got propelled to superstar status after dominating the charts with tracks such as Boys a Liar remix with Pink Panthy and Karma with Taylor Swift, getting awards. Overall, just being boosted in the industry and then reverting back to the mainstream status with the release of her debut studio album, Y2K, in the summer of 2024. During this period, she became a laughingstock on social media because her album had no hits, mediocre bars, and poop lyrics. She lost millions of monthly listeners on Spotify, which became an event within itself, which was overblown, to be honest, because monthly listeners are not a signifier or an accurate stat to judge if an artist actually has fans, especially for new artists who just got here. Ice was also blasted for being a bad friend in relation to her relationship with both Cleo and baby Stormy.
Rise and shine.
Not that baby Stormy. This baby Stormy.
Donald Trump is going to be assassinated this year before the upcoming 2024 election. His death is what is ultimately going to cause a civil war in the United States. If you want to know what the civil war will look like, go to any movie theater and just watch the movie Civil War. That is exactly what will happen in the United States. It is not just a movie. That will happen exactly how you see it in the movie theaters. All of the rich will die and only the poor will survive.
Also, Cleo, who went on Ice Spice's tour, accused Ice of treating her poorly, which really took a toll on Ice Spice's reputation, furthering speculations that she's a mean girl and a colorist. Let's not forget, she had supposed drama with the godly woman, Nicki Minaj. What had happened was a once close friend, that being the baby Stormy girl, the psychic girl, leaked messages exchanged between her and Ice. In the messages, Ice voiced her frustration she had with Nicki Minaj regarding possibly percentage splits during negotiations, in turn calling Nicki delusional and ungrateful.
Bullshit! She better not have!
And this revelation came after collaborating with Nicki on like 2 songs, the Barbie World song and the Princess Diana track. In an interview with Rolling Stone, the rapper addressed the incident and cleared the air regarding, her and Nicki's supposed relationship, stating, "We don't have the closest relationship, but we're definitely good. Like, we're mutuals. We had smash records together." Basically letting us know that her and Nicki don't really had or have a relationship. Their link up was strictly business. When addressing her friend who leaked the text, the rapper said, "I think that the saddest part of the whole situation, it's somebody I knew for so many years and called my friend, had me open up and be vulnerable with them, and then took complete advantage of that for her own benefit." So that was the saddest part, really, just feeling used, basically. Needless to say, the whole ordeal put a stain on her image, especially with the Barbs, who turned on her, as a lot of the Barbs supported her career because of the cosign she got from their Lord and Savior. Now, like I said, people did not like her debut album Y2K when it was finally released on July 26, 2024. The project sold like 28K in the first week, which is considered a flop by many. But considering the material being just okay and the fact that people don't buy albums anymore, it didn't do too bad sales-wise. Sales-wise, it didn't do too bad, especially considering how everyone is selling like either 60K and below. So I'm pretty shocked it did that much. Is the album mediocre? Absolutely, but I saw the vision or what she tried to accomplish with Y2K, which was to make her mark on hip-hop on her own and to world build. Again, a mediocre project, but I have to give her props for, instead of trying to build off of the hits she had prior, that were very broad appealing, she opted for a very niche internet sound. Like when I listen to the album, I can tell it's not trying like to cater to everyone, which is crucial for building a true audience, which pays off in the long run. Like I said, she skipped some of the steps and realized she had to go back to the drawing board, back to her Munch era, because that era wasn't done. She left it too quick, which gave this false impression that she was a megastar, with a devoted audience, when she really isn't a megastar yet. Very popular, but not respected. Anyway, call the album trash if you want. And I kind of agree, but it was a strategic move, not to release trash, rather to build upon, which is her original niche sound she crafted from the beginning. Now, let's talk about current events. We are now in 2025, and if you ask most people about Ice Spice, they'll tell you she's a flop, she's a phase, her career is done. I have a proposition. What if I tell you Ice's career is not over? What if I tell you Homegirl is just getting started and we'll be munching again?
Get away from here!
Let's consider that she has time to rectify and turn her career around. And maybe we're being a little bit too harsh considering she only has one EP, one album. A little perspective, while Ice Spice was propelled by the industry, as a rapper with a low skill set, we also helped to push her forward and make her seem larger than life, giving her all of these flowers and accolades, knowing she's not that good of a rapper. She's just okay. It's not like she faked being a good rapper. She just said a lot of, quotable things that, gets the crowd going. I guess what I'm trying to say is she didn't blow up on her own. We blew her up. Even the people who hated her blew her up because they only gave her like this underdog aura. And, people, we love to cheer on an underdog. Right now, lots of people will say she was just a phase and she isn't good. And while there's some truth to that, I also want to add, maybe we are not considering maybe her hate or overall fall stems from a larger issue. Maybe it's a hip-hop thing and not entirely Ice Spice's fault for not being as popular musically right now. And I also do not want to throw the entire genre of hip-hop/rap under the bus. I'm referring to the top 40 commercial aspect of the genre because rap is not dead. And there are many amazing rappers out right now, but it's not popular to be good at rapping in popular rap right now. Or it's just very hard to be accepted and get pushed to the forefront being a conscious or a very technical, skilled rapper. Right now, all you gotta do is have a good beat and vibes and you're set. And it is changing, but nowhere it needs to be. And again, on the popular stage is what I'm referring to. Recently, it was reported that the Hot 100 Top 40 was void of hip-hop for the first time since 1990. Hip-hop isn't in the top 40 for the first time since 1990, and that might be a good thing, reports Vice a few weeks ago. Now, I think that has changed, and I think a hip-hop song is now in the top 40. Just want to add that. So with this cleanse of the genre from the top 40, I think there's a bigger reason behind Ice's current situation. But I also want to add that audiences are becoming more open-minded, especially younger audiences exploring country music and Latin music. And nowadays, genre is slowly becoming less potent. Like a single genre is becoming less potent, and it's becoming harder to categorize what genre is such and, what genre such and such song is due to the blending of genres. What's next for Ice Spice? Like I said, I don't think her career is over. She just needs to continue to focus on her fans. Also, to prove my point, her career is far from over. Ice has a strong, noticeable brand that can be very lucrative and has the potential of, being even more lucrative. That'll ensure she'll never go broke while also keeping her name in the limelight. And in this age of clicks, likes, going viral, that matters. I'm just saying, this might be a stretch, but I'm going to say it anyway. She might fuck around and become the next Kylie Jenner. And I think we are also forgetting that Ice Spice is the leader for female rap right now, especially generation wise. Think about it. She is really up there in terms of Gen Z rappers. To further elaborate on her brand, we are in this interesting time where both emerging and seasoned artists have the ability to wear multiple hats and have the luxury to focus on multiple projects and to change careers even. For example, Victoria Monet revealed she's entering the culinary arts field, starting her cooking series. Daniel Young at BET writes, Victoria Monet is adding chef to her resume. The Grammy-winning singer reveals she's halfway through culinary school. The up-and-coming chef has launched a new Instagram series called Saucy Sundays, where she'll be sharing her chef journey, recipes, and cooking tips with fans.
Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
And it's not only Victoria Monet. We see other traditional celebrities entering other fields that would have once be seen as beneath them and thrive. In terms of podcasting, which shouldn't come to any surprise, there are so many celebrities who have entered, and become successful podcasters. Joe Budden is probably an obvious person who comes to mind. For those who don't know who Joe Budden is or know of him but think that he started in podcasting, no, he was a rapper in the early 2000s. He had the hit Pump It Up. Cameron and Mace, who are both rappers as well, host their podcast called It Is What It Is. Actress Raven Simone co-hosts a podcast with her wife. Keke Palmer also has a podcast in addition to also being an internet personality. And Rihanna has her Fenty line and hasn't released an album since 2016. Just the other day, it was announced Normani will be working with Shein, and I'm seeing people being very condescending or weirdly mad at her, but I think y'all are not realizing what's happening considering times are hard, okay? And I bet these are the same people that did not even buy her album. And I completely understand fans, being upset, because Shein is considered like a horrible brand overall, but it's not the first horrible brand Normani has worked with, but got no backlash for. I don't know. It just all seems like fake outrage. You can for sure, not like the endeavor and be a little salty, because you're not getting like new music and getting like side projects instead, but having this moral stance when other artists do the same thing without holding them to the same standards is hypocritical. And it's not like she won't release music ever again. It's just a side project. She's just trying to redefine herself with this side hustle. While this is nothing new, celebrities have always had these side projects, but now we are seeing these side projects turn into full-time endeavors that were once seen as, especially the ones that are seen as like unconventional for bona fide celebrities. And I don't think it's right to judge them for these hard or soft pivots into these, smaller or less glamorous professions. I'm sure the people who are mostly critical have also changed careers or done things on the side to make ends meet. Meanwhile, Ice Spice is wearing multiple hats as well. She's a fashion/brand ambassador. She was in That Movie with Denzel Washington and recently added voice acting to her resume after being cast in the new SpongeBob movie while also releasing music. We can say whatever we want about Ice Spice, but the fact that we keep talking about her, about everything she does, whether positive or negative, tells me that she is still in demand. The story of Ice Spice, that is still ongoing by the way, is not unique to her. We've seen many artists have flop debuts or got their image torn apart, but still managed to turn it around and go on to be successful. And let's be clear, despite all the negativity, thinking she's a phase or that she's mediocre, Ice Spice is very successful, and for her to garner so much success in a short time, I think she deserves merit for that. She might not be your ideal rapper right now, but she has thrived in the face of adversity and is now on the road of building a true audience, which, also in a sense feels like a scam or a finesse. But I guess some scams are justified. What do you think about this video? Yeah, that's all I have. I am Don, your pop culture boy, and I will see you in the next one.